My name is Reese Vaughn.
And my name is Tegan Vaughn.
If you've met Tegan, you know that she is a very bubbly and animated and energetic and social person. And I was really drawn to that. I really enjoyed spending time with her.
Actually, he was tall and really cute.
Yeah.
What else? So we got married on January 2nd, 2016. We kind of like to say we have old souls, and we enjoy just sitting on the couch and reading a book. We had spoken, before we got married that we both wanted kids. We wanted to have a family. It was something that we both desired. And so we've always known we wanted to start a family.
The movies and maybe expectations that are unspoken just make it seem like it'll happen easily and work the first time.
We ended up having 2 miscarriages within 6 months. So when it happened the first time, it was a little bit surprising because we didn't quite know what was happening. And then the second time, it felt really intense. I was really confused, hurt, and angry. Like, why would God allow not 1 but 2 babies back to back to be taken from us? And I have always wanted to be a mom. And I started really thinking that it would never happen.
We still wanted to keep trying though, and that's when 2 years of infertility began. And in those 2 years is when everything else happened. So my sister Riley is a year and a half younger than me. So as a little kid, all I knew was that she was around, and we were very close in age. We did everything together, went everywhere together. As kids, Riley had battled health problems from day one, of her life. She had lots of doubts, lots of questions about God. It began a new season in our relationship. Our conversations with Riley got more and more spiritual, more and more about the gospel. She started asking some really good questions, even as she was going through some really intense suffering herself. And there was one particular night where Riley had self-harmed. She was alone, and she was just in pretty much the darkest place a person can be. She was just plagued with the desire to end her own life, and she turned to the Lord in that evening, in the middle of the night, and called out to him in a desperate way that she never has before. And she, for the first time in her life, said that she felt the very presence of the Lord with her. She had grown up hearing about Jesus. She had grown up hearing the gospel. And after that night, when we interacted with her, we could see someone who was all of a sudden vibrant and full of life. There was a new heart in her, and she was, I believe, born again in Christ. I really held on to a text that she had sent me at Easter time that said, "Hey bro, I'm so excited to celebrate Easter, my first one as a Christian."
In that time, Reese's sister got really sick, had ended up in the hospital several times for infections, and
even as she approached the end of her life and we were praying for a literal miracle to be done in her body, we had to be reminding ourselves of the fact that the greatest miracle that could possibly occur had already occurred, which is that she was a new creation in Christ. And no matter what was to come, that we could hold on to that.
not even 2 months after Riley passed, Reese got really sick.
I lost 30 pounds in a week laying in the hospital bed. This is the worst pain I've ever felt. I have no idea how I'm going to make it through the next 5 minutes. And just a desperate cry to God for his sustaining strength.
Sometimes I've truly felt angry. Like, there are people, it seemed, that were just like skipping around, having the time of their life. And I'm over there like, my husband can't feed himself. His sister just died. I've done all the right things. I've gone to church my whole life. I've prayed. Still praying through this. Doesn't God give you what you want because you're doing the right things? And so I felt like God had to dismantle this concept in my head of checking the boxes to receive the gift, and showed me that he is the ultimate comfort. And better than we could have even asked for was receiving God himself.
Yeah, if God withholds what we ask to show us the great need we have just for him,
Yes.
are we willing to accept that? Through all the suffering we had walked through, I think God had softened us to the point where we were like, okay, Lord, whatever you want, like, we'll be down for that route. And then on Thanksgiving of last year, one Thanksgiving ago, we found out that we were expecting. On July 13th of this year, our daughter Eliza was born. Eliza Kayleen. Kayleen was my sister Riley's middle name. And she was born 2 days before Riley's 1 year death anniversary. And I think that timing was itself a gift from God. This world is full of problems. Yet one day, God will make all things new. And when we go through seasons of life where we desperately want God to make all things new, I think it just helps us to thirst for and hunger for and look ahead to that time where there will be no more tears, crying, pain, illness, death. He will have done away with those things.
So we went through a season of lots of suffering, in which we learned that we can no longer rely on ourselves, but we need to rely on God. And he gave us himself and a greater connection and intimacy with him and a greater knowledge of him, which trumps everything.